You open your eyes on a Wednesday morning, and before you even sit up in bed, that familiar knot is already forming in your stomach. You know the one. The quiet dread that shows up every time you remember your bank account exists. You grab your phone, tell yourself you're just checking the time, but your thumb goes straight to your banking app like it has a mind of its own, and the number staring back at you is smaller than it has any right to be. You got paid last Friday. You've barely done anything. And yet here you are, doing the mental math on whether you can cover everything until the next paycheck, wondering where it went, scrolling through charges that make no sense and a few that make too much sense. The coffee run you justified, the food delivery you ordered because you were too tired to cook, the thing you bought at midnight that felt completely reasonable at the time. You close the app. You tell yourself you'll deal with it this weekend. But here's what you already know deep down: you said that last weekend too, and the weekend before that, and nothing changed because nothing ever changes when there's no system driving the change. Now I want you to picture someone else, someone in your same city, maybe earning within a few $1,000s of what you make, driving a slightly older car, living in a similar apartment. They wake up on the same Wednesday morning and they check their accounts too. Their experience is completely different. Not because they got a raise or inherited money or got lucky in some way you didn't. The difference is that 2 months ago, they sat down on a Saturday morning with their phone, a notebook, and about 90 minutes, and they ran themselves through a 4-step financial reset. They learned their real numbers, found where their money was disappearing, set a priority order that actually made sense, and followed a 30-day plan. That's the whole gap between you and them, not income, not discipline, not intelligence. Process. One person has a structure. The other is making reactive decisions every single day and calling it budgeting. I'm Liana, and welcome to Liana Invest. If you're new here and this video is hitting close to home, please subscribe right now because I put out content like this every single day to help you take real control of your money, not the theoretical kind, the kind that actually moves your account balance. And if this video helps you today, a like goes a long way in getting this to someone else who needs it just as much as you do. In the next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through the exact same 4-step reset framework, a financial snapshot to show you your real numbers, a money flow audit to expose where your cash is leaking, a priority reset to sequence your dollars correctly, and a 30-day action plan to execute on everything you learn. Let's start with the financial snapshot, which is your diagnostic step, the part everyone skips because seeing your real numbers means giving up the comfortable blur you've been living in. That comfortable blur is exactly why nothing changes. The snapshot has 4 parts. Open your banking app right now and write down your current balances across checking, savings, and any cash on hand. Then write your monthly take-home income, the actual number that hits your account, not your gross salary, not what you wish it were. Then write your fixed monthly bills, rent or mortgage, utilities, phone, insurance, anything that's the same every month. Then write your minimum debt payments across every credit card, student loan, car loan, anything with a required monthly amount. Now do the math. Add your fixed bills to your groceries and gas baseline to your minimum debt payments. Subtract that total from your take-home. The number you're left with is your real flexibility number. Most people who go through this step discover that their actual breathing room is somewhere between 3 and 6 times smaller than they assumed. You've been making spending decisions based on a number that doesn't exist. That perception gap is responsible for more financial damage than most people realize. Because when you feel like you have $2,000 of flexibility and you actually have 400, you make the kind of choices that quietly wreck you. One thing to add before moving on: write down every expense that doesn't happen monthly but still happens every year. Car registration, holiday gifts, school supplies, annual subscriptions, vet bills, tires, medical co-pays. Add them up and divide by 12. If those irregular expenses average $1,200 a year, you have a $100 monthly reality that's been invisible in your budget. Whatever your real flexibility number is, subtract that irregular monthly average and that's your actual working number. The number with no illusions left in it. Step 2 is the money flow audit, and this is where most people feel the uncomfortable truth land hardest. Pull up your last 60 days of bank and credit card transactions and sort every single one into one of 4 categories: essential, flexible, unnecessary, or unknown. Essential means you cannot function without it. Housing, groceries, gas to get to work, insurance, medications, minimum payments. Flexible means you choose it but could spend less. Restaurants, entertainment, clothing, hobbies. Unnecessary means it adds no real value to your current life. Subscriptions you forgot, memberships you don't use, apps that auto-renewed, convenience spending that's become invisible habit. Unknown means you don't recognize it and you're not ignoring it until you do. For every transaction, don't just categorize it, assign a decision: keep, reduce, cancel, or investigate. A category tells you what happened. A decision tells you what changes next. Without the decision column, the audit is just a sad spreadsheet. Research updated for 2026 shows the average American spends around $219 monthly on subscriptions across roughly 8 services, but thinks they spend about $86. That's a $133 monthly gap, or over $1,500 a year, in services people genuinely don't realize are running. Add food delivery charges that feel occasional but show up 18 times in 60 days. Add the Amazon orders you can't connect to actual memories. Add the convenience store runs that are $3 to $5 each but happen 4 times a week. Your bank account doesn't care whether your money left in one dramatic chunk or in 100 painless strips. It only counts the total. When you finish the audit, identify your top 3 spending leaks. Not 15, 3. The 3 categories where the most money is leaving without producing real value in your life. Cutting those 3 categories by 50% is usually enough to free up $200 to $400 a month. And that changes everything that follows. The goal is not to make your life feel like punishment. It's to stop paying for things that were never actually making your life better. The delivery order you barely taste because you're exhausted and stressed is not the same as dinner out with people you love. The streaming service you open every night is not the same as the 3 you forgot existed. Keep the version of the spending that actually gives you something. Cut the version that only exists out of habit or convenience or emotional avoidance. Step 3 is the priority reset. And this is the step that changes everything about how your money moves. Most people scatter their money in 5 directions simultaneously and make real progress in 0 of them. Priorities sequence the chaos and tell you exactly what your next dollar does. The order goes: essentials first, minimum obligations second, short-term stability third, extra progress fourth. Essentials first means housing, food, utilities, transportation, insurance, medications. These are non-negotiable. Before anything else moves, the essentials are covered. This sounds obvious until you realize how many people aggressively pay down credit cards while their electric bill is past due, or dump money into savings while skipping prescription refills. Minimum second means staying current on every required payment. Late fees, rate increases, and credit score damage compound your problems and dig the hole deeper. Staying current is defensive math, and defense matters. Stability third means building a cash buffer before anything else accelerates. According to Bankrate's 2026 Annual Emergency Savings Report, 59% of Americans cannot cover a $1,000 emergency from savings without going into debt. 24% have zero emergency savings. The country is one car repair away from another credit card charge. The goal isn't 6 months of expenses on day 1. Start with $500, then $1,000, then 1 full month of essentials. $50 a week gets you to 510 weeks. $100 a week cuts that in half. Whatever fits your real numbers, make the transfer automatic and put it in a separate high-yield savings account not connected to your debit card. Good ones are paying around 4 to 4.5% in 2026. Small but real. Extra progress fourth. Once you have stability, you accelerate toward debt payoff, bigger savings, investment contributions, longer-term goals. Most financial content starts here, and that's exactly why it fails for most people. You can't build long-term momentum from a financially fragile position. Every emergency resets you. Stability is not separate from wealth building. It is the foundation that makes wealth building possible. If you have $400 of extra capacity after your snapshot and audit, splitting it $200 toward savings and $200 toward debt will almost always outperform putting all $400 toward debt, because the savings buffer means the next emergency doesn't send you straight back to a credit card and undo everything. Once your buffer hits 1,000, you can shift the ratio more aggressively toward debt. The priority order isn't permanent, it's sequenced. Stability first, then acceleration. Step 4 is the 30-day action plan. You have your numbers, you know your leaks, you have your priority order. Now you need a weekly structure that turns clarity into execution, because information without action is just expensive entertainment. Week 1 is your diagnosis week. Complete the snapshot and audit. Schedule 90 minutes on a Saturday, coffee in hand, no distractions, banking app open, notebook ready. Don't skip this week. Every decision that follows depends on the visibility this creates. Week 2 is identification and sequencing. Name your top 3 spending leaks with specific dollar amounts attached, not intentions. Write your priority order down. The act of writing it creates clarity that just thinking about it never will. Week 3 is stabilization. Set up automatic savings transfers. Open a separate high-yield savings account if you don't have one. Confirm autopay on all minimums so nothing slips backward. Week 4 is building. Pick one change that worked this month and commit to repeating it next month. Pull up your accounts and compare to where they were in week 1. Did numbers move? By how much? Progress confirms the system works and gives you the reason to keep going. The whole plan is 4 to 6 hours of total focus time across 1 month. Most people spend more than that in a single week watching content that doesn't change anything for them. Let me show you what this actually looks like in practice. Nicole is 37 and lives in Atlanta. She works in healthcare administration, bringing home around $4,100 a month. When she ran her Snapshot for the first time, her required outflow was $3,400 once she added fixed bills, groceries, and gas, and minimum debt payments. Her real flexibility was $700 a month. She had assumed it was closer to $1,800. She was operating on a number that was 2.5 times bigger than reality. That gap explained everything: why her savings never grew, why her credit card balance kept creeping, why she always felt behind despite earning a solid income. Her audit revealed 11 subscriptions totaling $112, 4 of which she had completely forgotten. Food delivery averaging $240 a month. Rideshare charges she assumed were occasional but totaled $90. Unnecessary and unknown combined was over $400 monthly in spending that wasn't improving her life at all. She canceled 4 subscriptions in week 2, which was a $44 immediate monthly win. She capped food delivery at 3 times a month and started keeping easy meals stocked to handle the tired evenings. She set up a $90 weekly automatic transfer to a high-yield savings account she opened specifically for the emergency fund. All minimums went to autopay. 30 days later, her emergency fund was at $360 for the first time in years. Her credit card balance stopped growing. She'd recovered nearly $250 of monthly capacity. But the thing she mentioned that surprised her the most was that she stopped dreading her banking app. The numbers weren't perfect. They were just visible. And visible was enough to breathe again. By month 4, her emergency fund crossed $1,000. By month 7, her highest interest credit card was paid off. None of this came from earning more. It came from one afternoon of clarity and 30 days of following through on what that clarity produced. The reset is not magic. It doesn't require deprivation or extreme sacrifice. It requires knowing your real numbers, seeing where your money actually goes, putting your priorities in the right order, and having a week-by-week structure to execute. Most people avoid this because the clarity feels uncomfortable before it feels like relief. The ones who push through the discomfort find that the other side isn't more anxiety, it's less. The numbers stop being scary because they stop being unknown. Financial stress isn't about how much you earn. 40% of Americans earning over $500,000 live paycheck to paycheck for the same reason someone earning $50,000 does. Their money has no structure. The structure is what creates breathing room, not the income level. The reset gets you stable. Stability gets you to the next phase. And the next phase is where the real questions start to shift. Once your essentials are covered, your minimums are current, your buffer is built, and your extra dollars have a direction, you start thinking differently. You start asking about what traps to avoid in the years ahead, because the decisions you make in your 30s shape your 40s, and the decisions in your 40s shape everything after. There's a window in your 30s where one housing decision sets your trajectory for 2 decades. There's a window in your 40s where lifestyle inflation becomes the floor you can never drop below. There's a window in your 50s where every delayed contribution costs exponentially more than the year before. None of those windows announce themselves while you're standing in front of them. Pattern recognition is what protects you, and the patterns are knowable if you're paying attention. I post on this channel every single day so you never miss what matters next. If you're serious about making this reset stick and building on it month after month, subscribe to Liana Invests and hit the like button if today's video gave you something real to work with, because that tells me to keep making exactly this kind of content. The next 30 days are already happening whether you act on this or not. The only question is whether they look like the last 30 did.